Good afternoon. Thank you, Sandra Sherry, for such an interesting session about rethinking your career path. I really enjoyed hearing your session. It gave so much insight on how we can better our career paths. Our career paths are important. Why? Because we need to find a workplace that gives us, that allows us to feel appreciated at our place of work, at the same time making us feel that our contribution towards the workforce is meaningful and significantly appreciated. It is important to have a good career path because it helps us self-grow, which is very important in our work life and as well in our personal life. So this brings me to my session today about the role of emotional intelligence in fueling teamwork. What is emotional intelligence? Why is it important in one's career? Are we born with emotional intelligence? Can it be developed? So, I am sure that some of you might be thinking, but what is emotional intelligence? Is it more important than IQ? Let's start off with a small exercise which will help you to understand better what emotional intelligence is and how important it is in our work life, especially in helping us work better in teams. So, let's start off. Maybe it would be wise to have a pen and paper to jot down some words that I'm going to ask you to write. So, think of your favorite parent or carer, somebody who took care of you. Why are they considered, according to you, to be your favorite? What is it that made you list them or label them as your favorite? Try to think of at least one trait that made you think of them as your favorite parent and carer. Okay, so now I want you to think of your favorite teacher. Think of that teacher, which you think was your best teacher in all your years at school. What did this teacher do or say to make you label him as your best teacher? We're not finished. Now, think of your best friend. I'm sure that you have lots of friends, but think of that special friend which you label as your best friend. Why is she your best friend? Why or what does he or she say that makes you think of him or her as your best friend? And now let's think about your best work colleague. I'm sure we have lots of colleagues working with us, but we all have that special person which we think of as a great colleague, a best colleague. Again, I ask you to ask the same question. What does this colleague of yours say or do, which makes you label him or her as your best colleague? Last but not least, think of your best boss. Who do you think is your best boss? Can you think of your best boss? Once again, I ask you, what did this boss do? Or what did this boss say that made you feel best, that got out the best out of you? Who is this boss? I'm sure you jotted down some words and some things. Remember that I asked you to think about the best parent, the best friend, the best colleague, and the best boss. And most probably, you all are thinking the same thing, because these people all managed to bring out the best in you. Most probably, these people are or were emotionally intelligent enough to use wise words or use the best phrases according to your needs to make you feel good about yourself. Yes, at times they might have had to tell you, you can improve in this, or you can do this better, or how about doing it this way? But the way they said it and the way they did it, they made sure that your feelings weren't hurt, and most of all, they encouraged you to improve upon yourself. So, with that in mind, let me give you a brief explanation of what emotional intelligence is before we go further and see how emotional intelligence can fuel teamwork. So, in a nutshell, emotional intelligence has two perspectives: the intrapersonal and the interpersonal. What is the intrapersonal? So, the intrapersonal aspect of emotional intelligence is that part where we are self-aware of our emotions. We all have been in places at work where we feel frustrated, we feel angry, we feel getting anxious, but we all know that when we felt this way and we didn't really stop and think about what our reactions would be, I think we all can say that the reactions can be said to have been negative. And then an hour later, or perhaps a day later, you would say, oh, why did I say this? Why didn't I think of that before? Why didn't I stop and think? So yes, emotional intelligence involves mainly you being aware, self-aware of your emotions and how they will impact others at your place of work. Self-regulation of emotions. Once you are aware of your emotions, you can learn how also to regulate your emotions. So that is the intrapersonal aspect of emotional intelligence. But that's not all about emotional intelligence. There is also the interpersonal aspect of emotional intelligence, and this in itself is further broken down into three other areas. Motivation, being able to motivate others at your place of work. We'll describe this in greater detail later on. Empathy, being able to empathize with other people. You believe in them. You know perhaps their limitations, and you also notice and you also know their strengths, but you are able to empathize about what they need to help them perform better at work. And as well, social skills. Social skills is also an important aspect of emotional intelligence, and if I may say, there is a very important phrase that you might have come across also in books or even in the internet, that IQ gets you the job, but it is emotional intelligence which gets you promoted. Why? Because when you are starting off your career, yes, you might have your degree, you can show your qualifications, your technical qualifications, etc., and they are very important and they do get you the job. But as you progress in your job and you want to perhaps take up a more leadership and managerial post, okay, your employers and your institutions will be looking for that person who has emotional intelligence skills, that person who is able to problem solve, communicate well with others, prevent conflict as much as possible with the people under him, as well as those people who are able to work under stress, as well as promote an altruistic and positive demeanor around them at the place of work. Yes, that is very important to keep in mind. So, how does emotional intelligence impact teamwork? Studies have shown that teamwork is successful when it is made up of emotionally intelligent team members, or at least the member try to use emotional intelligence as much as possible, or have actually received training in emotional intelligence. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to discuss this in further detail with you, but I'm going to refer to a study that was done with two groups, as I told you, in a media company. One group, they didn't know, one group was trained in emotional intelligence, they were sent for a professional development course in emotional intelligence, and the other ones, they were left as they were. And let's see how emotional intelligence helped the group who received that training perform better than the one that didn't. But before delving into further detail on how emotional intelligence can fuel teamwork, let me give you a short description of teamwork. A teamwork or a team can be described as a work group or unit with a common purpose vision through which members work in a collaborative manner, utilizing individual strengths and skills to achieve a common goal. Perhaps what should be added here is that the members are different. They might have different skills, they might have different talents, they might have, and probably they will, different backgrounds, different challenges. They might come from a different socio-emotional, different background than yours. It doesn't mean that they are any less useful for the team than you, but yes, it could bring up some issues when all of you are trying to work together. What are the advantages of working in a team? Working in a team encourages you to take more risks. It's what one would call intelligent risk-making. It also builds trust between the people who are working together. It also promotes and fosters creativity and learning. But most of all, it enables that the individual strengths and talents of the members, they can come together with a common vision in mind so that the team product, the ultimate team product, is much better than if it was done individually. So let's discuss how emotional intelligence can fuel teamwork. I will be referring to a study, as I said before. Let me remind you, 2 groups. One received training in emotional intelligence and the other one did not. So, let's start off with self-awareness. So, sometimes when we are working in a team, we might be aware that we are getting frustrated with certain decisions that are being taken. We might also not agree with certain decisions that are being taken. We might also feel frustrated when we see other people worrying or perhaps not giving their best for the team. So, before you might have said, come on, let's stop, Aya, you're not giving your best, how come you're not giving your best? Isa, hurry up, or something like that, which does not help in any way to promote teamwork. So, a better way to go about it is to say to myself, yes, I am aware that A and B are not giving their utmost. What could it be? Perhaps A is not fully understanding the team's vision, and B, he might not or she might not be fully understanding how to work that out. So it might be that A and B do have the technical skills for the team, but perhaps they are not communicating well with each other. So these are emotions, okay, and cues that you become self-aware. When you become self-aware of these issues, it is you who needs to see how, especially if you are the leader, to try and pacify what is happening. The earlier they are caught, the better. Sometimes we resort to not saying anything, or sometimes you say, it's not my role. Exactly. So what you could say is, for example, I do not agree entirely with what is being said here, or I am not completely understanding how we are going about it. Could you please explain further so I can understand better? It's okay to ask questions. Sometimes it's about how you ask the questions. Okay, but that then comes as well with some training. And then there's also self-regulation. So, as I said before, you are aware of your emotions. So, you should also be aware that the emotions you feel might have a great impact on the team members that you are working with. For example, if I am worried about something that the team is doing, or I am worried that the team or the teamwork is not progressing as it should be, what can I do? Should I go worried in the team? Should I confess that I'm feeling very worried and perhaps make the others more worried? Or perhaps I could delay the meeting to the next day so that I could go home and think more about it, perhaps do some research, and perhaps even if need be, to calm myself. The next day, I could set up an early meeting when I am feeling much more relaxed, and perhaps then I could not perhaps, it is very important to start off the day with a smile. Good morning, how are you? I am happy to see you again. Let's have a cup of coffee. Let's have a cup of tea. And we can all slowly sit down and continue where we left off yesterday. Sometimes after a good night's sleep, sometimes after perhaps taking a break from something that was worrying you, the next day you go back better with more ideas and you feel refreshed. So sometimes it is better to stop a meeting, or better to stop somewhere, or meet the next day if you're feeling that emotions are getting kind of hot, or perhaps you're feeling that work is not progressing as it should be. And it's okay, if need be, to delay some decisions that need to be taken. The next important part of emotional intelligence is empathy. Why is empathy important? At first, when I studied emotional intelligence, I couldn't exactly understand why empathy was important in team. I thought it had something to do more with a social worker or a psychologist, etc. But then I realized that the people working in a team, they might have the same vision and the same goal for the team, but they might have different backgrounds, different challenges, and different issues affecting them. For example, now during the COVID, many families perhaps are going through financial distress, so that might affect the team decisions. They might not be fully focused. So also, it could also be that a team member might be coming from a different cultural background, and the way they discuss matters might be different from the way that we're used to. Remember, the technical skills that be seen are usually found in a book, but the emotional intelligence skills, they are not usually found in a book, but they are invisible. So yes, it is good sometimes even to stop and to see if a team member is feeling frustrated, to ask how they are, perhaps ask for a separate meeting, perhaps even stop and discuss an issue, even it means that it is delaying the work, to discuss an issue that is perhaps creating some animosity. It is good. That is why it is said that teamwork fosters creativity and learning, because when we stop to discuss with others in a team, we are sometimes very much surprised by what comes out from other members. It is not the first time when I have had a meeting and I listen to another person and I say, oh my God, I didn't realize what a valid point he was going to bring up. I never imagined what that person could contribute to the team. I never realized he or she thought it that way. So yes, the benefits of working in a team is being able to stop and discuss with others and listen to others. That is the benefit. Obviously, there is a time frame, but otherwise, if you don't make use of the benefits of working in a team in such a way so that everyone's talents and skills can be unified for the common goal, you would be losing out on teamwork. Another important aspect of emotional intelligence is motivation. Whether you are the leader in a team or whether you are a team player, it is important that as much as possible you remain motivated. Yes, it is highly probable that at some point in time you will feel discouraged. There will be financial drawbacks. There might be physical drawbacks. A member of the team is sick or not feeling well, or there might be other issues, or there might be a change in plan. But working under stress and being resilient is one of the traits of emotionally intelligent people. And the first thing that an emotionally intelligent person says to himself or herself first is to say, yes, I am feeling stressed, I am feeling frustrated, because there is this and this happening. So acknowledging what you are feeling and why you are feeling it is the best and first way forward to dealing with stress at the place of work. And after you do that, you try to find ways with yourself and with your colleagues on how certain issues during the team can be improved. A good emotionally intelligent leader is able to keep himself and herself and the others around him or herself motivated to continue doing their work. That is a good motivator. And simple things like, well done, you are doing well, keep up your good work, I love your idea, let us know how we can improve upon it. What do you think about this? Last time you mentioned that we could do this or we could do that. When you address the person by the name and actually praise them for their efforts and you extol their work, it makes a huge difference on the person's intrinsic motivation to work. Remember that a person might be paid well, but it is these simple things like praise, feeling appreciated, feeling that your work is giving a meaningful contribution to the workforce you are working with. It is these things that make us work wonders. Remember, back here I have to say, to your teacher, to your best teacher. You had lots of work to do, you had lots of work, perhaps you didn't finish and you got perhaps reprimanded by your teacher, but you always remember that teacher who was there to push you forward, who saw the best in you and who also managed to make you work better. It is the same in a team. You help others to work better. Last but not least, there is the social skills aspect of emotional intelligence. When I was younger, I came across a phrase by Maya Angelou, and it is here with me to share it with you. Maya Angelou was an American poet, she was a singer and also a civil rights activist. And this is what she said: people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. If you stop to think about it, this is very, very, very true. Because when I asked you about your best teacher, about your best parent, about your best work colleague, about your best friend, about your best boss, probably nothing came to mind related to your salary, nothing came to mind related to if you had an air conditioner or not. Probably what came to mind, how they made you feel. How they made you get the best out of you. So yes, this reinforces that when we have emotionally intelligent leaders or members in our team, they make you feel good and they give you that extra impetus to work better. So, social skills in a team. So, it is true that sometimes we might not have the same social skills, but knowing all what needs to be known on a computer in a book will not help you work best or better or in a very efficient way if you are working in a team. In a team, you need to make informed decisions. Yes, so the technical data is important, but managing and leading your team is a different matter. Let's make a difference here between being a manager and being a leader. So being a manager in a team means that you are kind of obsessed with making sure that things get done on time. But when you are a leader, especially an emotionally intelligent leader, you are more concerned with making sure that the right things get done. And the right things, I mean, there is respect during the teamwork. Everybody's talents and skills are utilized the same. Everybody has the opportunity to speak out his concerns and provide recommendations and solutions. And perhaps the most important of social skills is that they feel appreciated and they can communicate well between each other. A good team makes time also to have breaks together, to have a cup of tea together, to have a tea together, to have that cake or that muffin together. And it also invests in team building activities so that team can work together. You can have a small team and you can have a large team. It is important that teams are kept to a reasonable size. Why? So that there is more internal communication, and the communication can be of a higher quality. So yes, as you have seen, emotionally intelligent people are able to bring out the best in others by harnessing, by creating, by providing the food for one to develop the best in him, by creating a positive learning environment, by creating a positive ambient environment, by helping others feeling positive about themselves, by believing in themselves. If you don't have these in teamwork, obviously your team will suffer more than if you were to harness these things. So, the role of emotional intelligence is very, very important in teamwork. I could go on hours about this subject, and this was only a brief introduction. But I am sure that it will help you to reflect on emotional intelligence and perhaps even look up on the internet and research more about emotional intelligence. I myself plan to make more workshops about emotional intelligence, and we can even delve into different scenarios, different teamworks, and different places of work with different team members and even different role plays. We might be a leader, might be a team player. But the same, emotional intelligence helps us bring out the best in us and in others. I would like once again to end by quoting Maya Angelou, which I already quoted, because I carry this everywhere I go. And when sometimes I'm feeling a bit low or I need to find myself again in a team, I always refer to this quote. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. Remember your best teacher, your best parent, your best friend, your best boss, and your best work colleague. I hope you found this session interesting, and I hope it stimulated you to think about how you can make emotions work better inside your team or at your workplace or even in your personal life. Coming up next is Jade Attard. She is a psychotherapist, and she's going to give us a very interesting session about the sitting disease, which has become quite common now that we have been working more from home, especially due to the COVID and pandemic. However, before we proceed to Jade, we have a small break, which I'm sure you're looking forward, because you've had two interesting sessions about rethinking your career path and mine about emotional intelligence. So I think you have a lot to think about. Thank you for being here with me. I really enjoyed sharing my experience and ideas with you. Obviously, if you are in a position to donate to Polaris, it would be highly appreciated. If not, it's okay. Thank you for attention, and I look forward to seeing you soon again. Thank you.